Jackets lose 3-2 to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 2 of the qualifying round, even in this series at 1 apiece. Now, there were a couple things in this game that happened, mainly the Jake Muzzin incident. So when we talk about that first, there's an update this morning that Jake Muzzin will be out for the rest of the Columbus-Toronto series. He was moving all of his extremities when he first got hit. I don't know exactly when, but he did at one point lose some feeling in his extremities. But he's all good now, so I think they're just taking extra precautionary measures. There's no point in risking the rest of his life for a couple of games potentially. If Toronto happens to advance, he'll be back for round 1. But from everything I've seen, he's going to be 100% fine, and they're just being extra precautionary, which is a great thing to see. Now to the incident itself. It was near the end of the game. Columbus has a power play, and they're moving the puck kind of well. The puck goes behind the net, and Jake Muzzin blocked a shot a few seconds before this. Goes behind the net, and he's chasing it, and POD cross-checks him. That was a cross-check. That's all it is, and the league looked at it and said, no supplementary discipline. At most, it was a 2-minute minor. Jake Muzzin loses his balance from the cross-check, and he goes down, and he hits his head on Oliver Bjorkstrand's knee. And he's trying to get up, and immediately went back down. And I thought it was bad at first, but then when he went back down, I was like, oh, this is really bad. He ended up stretchering off the ice. So, but the report's coming out, he's fine. I don't know if anything happened to Bjorkstrand. It looked like it was a weird hit on his knee, so it could have done some damage to his knee, tweaked something, and it just hasn't shown itself yet, so hopefully Bjorkstrand's good as well. But I saw people calling PLD dirty for this cross-check. It's a cross-check that happens a ton of times in a game. Should they call it as a penalty and take the cross-check out of the game? Yeah, probably, but they don't, and so PLD was doing something every player's done. I saw people saying, I don't care the thing, you don't cross-check somebody in the numbers. People cross-check people in the numbers all the time in front of battles. And nothing ever gets made of that. You're cross-checking somebody in the numbers, they're going down as a shot is coming in. That's pretty dangerous as well. And everybody does it. There was even a play earlier in this game. There's a net from battle in front of Frederick Anderson, and I think it was Mikheyev, but it was one of the Toronto Maple Leafs players comes in from the circle and skates over to the other bottom of the other circle and just loads up and cross-checks the Blue Jackets player on the shoulders. I was like, that's a pretty vicious cross-check. That went completely uncalled. But because there's no injury on the play, nobody's talking about it. And another thing that happened in this game, the Kyle Clifford hit on Kukin. It was borderline. He came from the blue line with speed. At the point of contact, he was on the ice. However, he immediately was leaving his feet. And Kukin was shaking up on the play. He would end up leaving for a little bit and then coming back. I think I give Clifford a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, trying to make a big hit type of thing. If it's somebody with more of a history, I think, yeah, that's an intent to injure and to send a message and suspend them. Clifford, I would have given him a 2 for charging. That's about it. But it's another one of those plays where the refs saw it and just went, nope. There were a bunch of those in this game, and it was for both ways. But now that we got that out of the way, and Jake Muzzin is going to be fine, let's jump into the game. First period, Toronto comes out with a ton of life, and they're pinning the puck on net. And as Columbus tries to break out of the zone, their passes were not that great, and so Toronto was able to keep possession for a lot of the period. And Corpy had to make some huge saves, just standing tall, blocking it. Columbus would get a few chances, but nothing really too amazing. Head to the first intermission. And this is where NBC really pissed me off, because the entire time they were talking about this game, they kept bringing up Corpy's shutout streak and how he hasn't given up a goal yet. I'm like, hey, why don't you shut up? Because that's, you don't say that. And they kept bringing it up during the second period, and eventually, about 5 minutes left, Toronto's coming up the ice. Austin Matthews gets over Zach Hyman, and Werenski does a good job keeping Hyman to the outside. Matthews breaks towards the net. Bjorkstrand's the guy back. Doesn't really get to Matthews in time. Hyman pits it back over to Matthews. Matthews tips it past Corpy, and Toronto leads 1-0. It was a great tip by Matthews, and Corpy had been playing out of his mind up until this point, and even after that, Corpy played great. Corpy played great this entire game. He's played great the first game as well, and I think Torch goes with him for Game 3 as well. But the Toronto Maple Leafs have the lead, and they would carry that into the third period. Come out for the third period, there's a little bit of pressure. Columbus trying to do something in their offensive zone, and the defense starts to jump up, and Zach Werenski tries to make a move through the zone. I think he's trying to pass it to Foudy on the play, but the defender for the Maple Leafs gets enough of it, and it bounces on Werenski, and he really can't do anything with it, and he turns it over, and the Leafs get up to John Tavares, and Tavares has a breakaway from basically his blue line, and he had, I think, 8 shots in this game, and he was getting frustrated with Corpy, but he comes down, pits a little move on, and I think Corpy thinks he's going to go backhand. He doesn't. He goes forehand, shoots it. It beats Corpy, and Toronto leads 2-0. But we're only about 5 minutes into the third period. Toronto's blown leads before. This is nothing. And all Columbus has to do is get back to the way they played Game 1. Get in the offensive zone, cycle a puck, put pucks on the net, and retrieve them. They really couldn't do that, and the passes they were making were horrible. They would get a few chances, but Anderson's there to make the save, and they would end up getting an empty net goal near the end of the game, and Toronto would end up winning 3-0. The shots were 39-20 for Toronto. They just outplayed Columbus this entire game. They were the better team, and they won. Hopefully, Columbus comes out more like they did in Game 1 and takes it to Toronto and can make a series of this. I don't see too many lineup changes. Maybe Nudie for Kukin, but I don't know. Everybody played bad. You can't really be like, oh, you played bad, you're coming out of the lineup, we're paying somebody else in. The entire team played bad, except for Corpy. So, if you're going to make up a line change for a player being bad, you're going to have to change the whole team. So, only change I really see needing to be made, maybe Kukin for Nudie. That's about it. But hopefully, they can figure it out and come out for Game 3 and really grab a hold of this series. But until next time, when they play Game 3, click like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until then, I will see you later.